It's a sad line on your face.
Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to FItaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef FItaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday. And on the menu for this Saturday, we have Enter the Gungeon, the twin-stick roguelite shooter from Dogde Roll Games and Devolver Digital. So what kind of taste will this one go and have? Let's get cooking and find out. So we have 4 characters that we can go and possibly select from at the beginning of the game. There are some secret characters, but at this point in time, I don't have any unlocked. We go and have the Marine, your standard Space Marine, with a really nice pistol. He goes and comes equipped with armor, as well as an ammo drop, and he also has an extra passive ability that goes and allows him to reload faster, as well as aim more accurately. There's the pilot, who goes and has a fairly interesting energy blaster for his main weapon. He also goes and comes equipped with a lockpick, secret compartments, so he has additional ammo capacity, as well as additional active item capacity, and he also has a disarming personality, so he does go and get bonuses of getting a cheaper shop. We have the convict, who goes and comes equipped with 2 guns, the budget revolver, and the sawed-off shotgun. She also has the Molotov cocktail, and if she goes and gets hit, she goes and gets a damage boost for a short time. And last, but definitely not least, there's also the hunter, who goes and comes with the rusty sidearm, the crossbow, and the trusty dog/hamster Turbo. Well, that's just a name that I've kind of given him, so who can go and find items throughout the course of the dungeon. So my personal favorite at this point in time is the Marine, so I will go and be using him for my purposes of showing you the game today. So as you start the game, you go and start in this hub area known as the Breach. And initially there aren't very many characters that populate it, but the more you go and explore the Gungeon, you go and rescue characters that will ultimately go and help you in one way or another. Going and setting up shop up here, or they might go and reappear in the Gungeon and offer you quests or other forms of help. So it's really fun to go and see the Breach as it goes and evolves from being a boarded up area with hardly anybody occupying it to a more living space, as it were. And one thing that's really neat about Enter the Gungeon is it also goes and allows for co-op. And it actually does a really good job of that. So we're going to go and be trying that out today. And you go and use the Cultist for co-op. Then that'll go and be our Player 2 character. Enter co-op? Yes. So, without further ado, let us enter the Gungeon. So Enter the Gungeon is, outside of its twin-stick shooter aspect, it's a procedurally generated roguelite dungeon crawler, where you have a dungeon you go and crawl through, similar to games like Binding of Isaac's a good example. In addition to your standard twin-stick controls, where you go and have one stick going and controlling your movement, the other one controlling your aim, there are also a few other commands that are a little bit unique to this one, including the awesome Dogde Roll, the namesake of the developer. The Dogde Roll is a technique that allows you to go and dodge over enemy bullets, and as long as you're in the air, it's a short period of invulnerability. So even though some of the enemies attack with bullet hell-like patterns, you'll be able to go and safely dodge past those. So we've just gotten to the shop. Here you can go and, if you happen to have the shells, coins, gold, whatever you choose to go and call that currency, you can go and buy various consumables or additional guns, active items, or passive items. And those are the 4 type of items that you have available. So here we have some ammo, a heart, some keys, and then a couple of guns. The unfinished gun and the blunderbuss. So there are a ridiculous number of guns in this game, and they're actually all very interesting and unique. Well, not necessarily all of them, but most of them are very interesting and unique. Unfortunately, we don't really have enough to go and buy any, so we're just going to go and move on for now. So the enemies we're going and fighting are these cute little guys known as Bulletkin. There are also several other interesting enemies throughout the course of the dungeon. So here's a chest that we've gone and found. This one actually has a fuse, so if we let that fuse go down and it explodes, we're going to go and open it before then. And we have a passive item that showed up. Table Tech Stun. Flip Showmanship. So you can actually flip the tables in this game for various effects. At the very least, it goes and provides you with a defensive barrier that you can go and hide behind. But if you get certain tech, you can go and use the abilities for awesome effect. This is actually the first time I've seen the Table Tech Stun in action, and I've got to say, I'm a fan. So the big guy in that room was a gun nut, the one who's been going and carrying around swords. These guys are really great for going and showing off just the potential of the game's namesake dodge roll. So hopefully we'll get another key so we can go and check out another chest, maybe go and get some additional firepower going here. So each character's default weapon does go and have infinite ammunition. So no matter what, you'll always be able to go and shoot back at the enemies. Although, especially as you go and get deeper and deeper into the Gungeon, they become less efficient as the enemies go and take more shots to go and take out. Took out a couple booklets there. We've got Gungerers here. Some shotgunkin, whom are no more. So hopefully you've been noticing to this point, but if not, I definitely have to go and bring attention to all of the detail that the game itself goes and has. Like these papers that are going and falling from the booklet we just went and defeated. And each one is an individual object, whereas if there's an explosion or something else that happens in the room, they'll be thrown around. All the items on the walls are breakable, and all the refuge is also its own individual object with the way that the game goes and treats it. Going and making for some of the most detailed and beautiful pixel environments that I've yet seen. Another chest, and in here we have the Plague Pistol, Chemical Warfare. So the Plague Pistol is one that goes and comes up relatively often as it's a lower tier gun that goes and fires, well, globs of poison at the enemy. Actually, you can go and pull up a particular dictionary called the Ammonomicon that goes and shows you, well, it gives you a description of the gun itself, some flavor text, as well as your items, the active item that you go and happen to have equipped, and the passive item. So, here we can go and have a look at that gun that we just went and picked up. The Plague Pistol. Not really a whole lot said about this one, unfortunately. It just fires poisonous rounds. But you can also look at your active item, which you can usually only have one of. But there are other passive items that allow you to carry multiple, or you can carry multiple if you are the pilot. And then you have passive items. And each goes and has a brief description of what it goes and does, and sometimes flavor text as well. So here we are at the boss of Chamber 1. So the bosses are randomly generated, and there are usually 2 to 3 bosses per chamber that you could possibly go and encounter. So there are 3 possibilities that we can encounter on this floor. So let's find out who we go and get. Another thing I have to go and point out, the way enemies spawn in, brilliant. Double tap, trigger twins, Shade and Smiley. So another button that I haven't gone and explained how that goes and works yet. You go and start off each chamber, each floor, with 2 blanks. And those are essentially screen clearing bombs that'll also give you a brief breather from the enemy's fire. So the trigger twins here, usually it's best to go and try and take out one first, so you're not going and dealing with as much firepower. At least that's my preferred way to go and do it. And whoever goes and survives the initial wave also goes and gets a refill on health. If you happen to have a really good fight against the bosses, you can go and get a special master chamber, which actually goes and gives you an extra heart. As you can go and see in the top right and left, you go and start off with 3 hearts, and that goes and definitely expands your survivability. And there's also another item that always goes and drops when you go and defeat the bosses. In this case, it's the Vertebrake 47. Nervous yet? Yep, we're going and firing spines that chain together. That is a very beautiful gun. Alright, moving on to Chamber 2. So Chamber 2, the Gungeon proper, goes and introduces some new enemies in addition to some new hazards. We started to go and see things like spike traps and pitfalls that weren't really present on the first floor of the Gungeon. So now that we do have a couple weapons, I can go and show off yet another awesome feature that exists in Enter the Gungeon. So if you're going and changing your weapons, you can go and do so in the course of battle. If you have a lot of them, sometimes it's hard to go and pick which one you want. And it doesn't actually stop time, but it does go and slow it down, giving you the ability to go and select which weapon you want for the job at hand, as well as how to go and react to the situation around you, as you might find yourself in a less than ideal position with the enemies. And remember, the dodge roll is your friend. That momentary bit of invulnerability might just be what you need to go and defeat all those challenges that go and surround you. Another really neat feature that I have to go and mention about the title is when you've gone and defeated a room, you don't have to go and worry about picking up all the various shell casings the enemies go and drop. They actually go and get sucked in towards you, so making it very possible to quickly proceed through the Gungeon, going and tearing up enemies left and right. So if you happen to go and have pieces of armor and you go and take hits, the armor will go and act like a blank, going and firing out a brief burst that goes and clears the room of incoming fire. Something that can definitely go and help you survive, though it does seem like a bit of a waste to go and lose your armor. Still, in a game like this, I guess you never want to go and get hit if you can go and avoid it. Another neat feature which I haven't talked about, which is great for this kind of a dungeon exploring roguelite, is the ability to go and teleport around the map. Certain rooms will go and have let's see the right term for them. 6-shooter bullet chamber like floor tiles that once the room is cleared will go and light up green, and that once that's has occurred, you can go and warp to that room at any time from the map that you can go and pull up. Well, probably not at any time, once the room has been cleared, I'm sure you'll be able to go and warp to it. And in this chest, a not so awesome passive or active item, unfortunately. The grapple hook. So this is a good example of an active item that is multi-use. Upon use, it goes and recharges. In this case, this one goes and has a bar that recharges automatically. Others, you have to defeat enemies for it to go and recharge. But in a game like this, a grapple hook isn't very useful. There are also one-time use active items, like the Marine's default, the ammo drop. Oh, if you go and happen to leave an item or ammo on the ground, then the little thief RR goes and comes and picks it up. So you have to be careful what you go and leave behind. The only things he doesn't go and pick up are hearts, so those are safe to go and leave behind. Back to this room, as we still have several chambers branching off of it. There are also these altar rooms that happen throughout the course of the game itself. A shrine to the gun gods. Offer tribute for 10 coins or turn away. Depending on what they are, you'll have different options available. Where we have 85 coins, I guess it's fair to go and offer tribute. Pop. Bullets from nowhere. I don't really know what benefit that one gave me. There are also rooms like this that have a cell that are guarded by either one like this that's a normal, that requires a normal key to go and open, or sometimes you'll go and have one that requires a special cell key, and those usually go and have special characters inside that will ultimately go and join you in the breach. Cubulins, shock bullets, bulletkin, and shotgunkin. Good teamwork there, a nice use of a pincer attack. I was hoping for a better chest, but inside we have the little bomber, refuse to lose. This one is a charge cannon that happens to go and fire a bomb-like cannonball. And with all the other branches explored, oh. So here we would have to go and use a key to go and access the shop. Unfortunately, not having any keys, that option is not available to us. So all that's left at this point for this chamber is to go and fight the boss. It's always best to go and pick the weapon you want to go and use against it. And here we are. We drew the accursed gun witch, the Gorgon. If you look at her Emonomicron entry, you go and see that she's actually nicknamed Medusi in this one. Really fun take on the whole gun theme for, as well as having like Gorgon as the name. She also goes and has Medusi as her actual name. She does go and get nice and bullet helly on you with some of those patterns that she goes and sends out. You have to be careful to go and dodge her poison as well. If you go and stay on that too long, you will get poisoned and take damage via that method as well. So when bombs go and when bombs get defeated, when enemies get defeated, they go and drop those green hegemony credits that you can go and pick up to use for items in the breach. And here we go and have the trick gun. This one's definitely a fun one. It's a pistol. It's a shotgun. It's a pistol. Which one is it? It depends on when you reload. And that is Chamber 2 of the Gungeon. Moving on to Chamber 3. So my thoughts about this title, it's a really polished roguelite, no matter what kind of element you're going and looking at it. And the whole gunplay and all the various weapons that they go and put inside of the title just feel like they're really thought out and well tested. And they go and provide a lot of fun to go and use. All the various effects, like a gun that goes and changes form between when it goes and reloads. There are also other guns that go and have a special last shot once you go and empty an ammo clip, which unfortunately we didn't get any of those to go and show you, but those are some of my favorite. There's some that can go and be outright dangerous and hazardous to yourself as well as the enemies. There's one particular one that I'm not a particular fan of, called the fossilized gun, where you go and lay down oil and then you ignite it. Going and potentially lighting the enemies on fire, but just as likely lighting you on fire. So, there you have it. Enter the Gungeon. Definitely one of my favorite games of 2016 thus far. And if you haven't had the chance to go and check this one out, I really encourage you to go and do so. It's available on PC and PlayStation 4 at this point in time. So really, if you're not playing this one, you should be. Anyway, thank you so much for coming out and joining me today for Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, if you go and have suggestions for other shoot 'em ups you think I should go and have a look at, by all means, please leave those in the comments below. Once again, thank you so much for coming out and joining me today, and I look forward to going and seeing you again next week.